This is the Morning Drive Podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
I'm Mike Hebert, owner of Cantex Roofing and Construction. Every day is game day, and we'll get it right when it comes to your roofing, construction, windows, and mirrors. Call Cantex Roofing and Construction today. Together, we are one serving you.
Here on the Morning Drive. Did you hear a door open this morning?
Yes.
Okay, yes. Yes is the correct answer.
Numerous doors.
Yes is the correct answer. The door that...
One in my apartment, one in my truck, one here,
Okay.
one in the production room, one in the break room. So I heard more than one door.
Okay, all right. The other door that opened this morning is the portal door for the men's basketball.
I don't think I heard that one yet.
Okay, well, it's open. And it'll be interesting to see who and how many. And I hate it because, you know, I feel like that the portal shouldn't open until the last game is finished.
Yeah. Makes sense.
You know, I don't know that there'll be that many from Sweet 16 teams that they'll say, well, I'll just up and bail. But, I mean, it causes distraction because coaches have to recruit and they have to get in there as well and go after players. And for some of them, they're trying to prepare for, you know, the game of their life to get to the Elite Eight. I mean, I know there's some coaches that have made numerous trips there, but there's other coaches where it's like, I mean, you never know when you're going to get back. I mean, there's no guarantee that you're going to get back once you get to this level. I mean, you feel like that, you know, you've got a good roster and you've got good backing from the university and facilities and all those things, but there's no guarantee that you're going to be the one that's going to bring them back the next time. So you're trying to do everything that you can to prepare your team, prepare yourself. And, oh, by the way, now you got to worry about some cat from Kalamazoo that all of a sudden has grown 6 inches, gained 30 pounds, found his hook shot, and you're like, well, we got to bring him to Lubbock.
Especially if he's got a hook shot. Yeah, we want those guys.
You know, all those things. The women's portal door opens tomorrow. Okay, so that's that. All right, Jamie. Baseball over the weekend. Lose Friday, win Saturday, lose yesterday. Yesterday was the heartbreaker, wasn't it?
It didn't feel great. Definitely a game that you had a chance to win.
What was there an overriding common denominator yesterday or over the weekend that you felt like, or is it kind of more the same, or is there new problems, or is it just same stuff?
You know, Friday, a couple defensive plays in the third inning just basically ended that game.
Opened up the door.
Yep, just basically ended that game. I mean, hard hit ball to first that you don't make a play on, and the next batter hits a fly ball to center field, and the center fielder loses it in the sun. He can't find the ball. Lazy fly ball leads, instead of, you know, having 2 outs and nobody on base, you got 2 on and nobody outs, and it leads to a big inning. It was a 1-1 game at that point, and their starter was really, really good that they had gotten out of the transfer portal from Wichita State, and you just couldn't get after him. And so that really was those 2 plays back-to-back that weren't made, one on a hard hit ball to first that, again, a play that should have been made, was called an error, deservedly so in my opinion. And then just really bad luck with losing the ball in the sun, and that's the second time the Red Raiders have had that issue, cost them badly this season. So there's a little bit of bad luck there. Saturday, obviously, back and forth game. Red Raiders get a big early inning to kind of separate there and are able to hold on for a victory late in a well-played game. It was fun to watch, and it was the same exact thing yesterday. Well-played game by both teams, and there's just some opportunities where, obviously in the ninth with runners at first and second and nobody out, and you can't get a bunt down. You don't do the little things. And, early in the game in the first inning, you put 2 guys on after you're ahead in the count 0-2, and you walk them both. And one of those comes around to score on a routine, easy ground ball to shortstop that you don't make the play. And so it's just one of those things where you didn't do the little things. You didn't get the out there when you needed to. You put too many guys on via free passes, and when you had the opportunity, you hit well with runners in scoring position yesterday, but the problem was you grounded into 4 double plays. And so every time you started to get a rally going, you'd kind of kill the rally, and some of that's just bad luck because you're hitting the ball hard usually when you're turning double plays, and if one of those balls is to the left or the right 6 inches, maybe it gets through and it's a big rally, but instead it was a double play, and so you didn't play poorly. You just you had some opportunities to get the game won, and you didn't get it won, both offensively and defensively, and then TCU finally in the 11th was able to take advantage, and they got a dude who's an absolute dude, and he showed it the entire weekend.
Just mowed it down.
He's better than everybody else. Yeah. No, he's a hitter. Yeah. He didn't mow anybody down. He just kept hitting the ball over the wall. Yeah.
Time after time. How many home runs did he have?
He had 2 home runs yesterday, but he had 6 hits going into yesterday, and he had 4 more yesterday. 3 of them drove in 2 runs each time, so he drove in 6 of their 9 runs.
Yeah, that makes it.
He was really good.
Is he another Lukenbaker?
No, he's a more of a complete player, normal looking guy. He doesn't look like he just rolled out of the, Muscle Beach or anything. He's a great player out of Brock. Yeah.
And you did get a good pitching performance on Saturday from Jack Siebert again. Is he a candidate to go back to the starting situation, or do you want to leave him in the bullpen?
I guess that's my question. If he struggled as a starter and he's killing it as a reliever, why would you take him out of that role?
Just didn't know if you felt like that you needed him to see if he could come out and start and get off to a good start and help your team.
Seems like you keep winning on Saturdays with him doing that.
Don't mess that up.
I wouldn't, but I maybe it's a possibility.
Yeah. And obviously didn't. I was not here, so I didn't see this situation. But a couple of times it's come up of our best hitter's up with nobody out, and why bunt him?
Because you need 1 run to win the game. Get the runner over there to third with 1 out.
That's just basic baseball right there.
And you got your best hitter when runners in scoring position hitting behind him. You put so much more pressure on the defense if you've got second and third there with 1 out. Yeah, and you stay away from a double play ball. Hit by Bravo in that situation. It's not about the coaching decision. You got to execute. You got to get the bunt down.
Yeah.
And instead you popped it up and made an easy play by the catcher. It's not about a coaching decision. It's you didn't execute. You didn't get the job done. And ultimately little plays like that through the course of the game. Well, it's not the only one, but you can pick out 3 or 4 of them that every time you lose a close game, you can say there's a bunch of different plays, and that was definitely one of them.
Sure.
Your daily dose of sports and fun. This is the Morning Drive Podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
Sports history today is Monday, March the 24th. Here is Jeff McGuire with this day in sports history.
Starting in 1956, the 18th NCAA Men's Basketball Championship took place. San Francisco beat Iowa 83-71. It's Don's back-to-back national titles. 1974, the 36th NCAA Men's Basketball Championship. North Carolina State beats Marquette 76-64. Wolfpack first tournament officially designated as the Division I championship.
Oh, okay. David Thompson was the big star there for North Carolina State.
1988, San Diego Chargers quarterback Don Faust announces his retirement after 15 seasons. 2007, Kyle Martin hits a second home run in as many games, and James Leverton's winning run is by a balk as Texas Tech beats Baylor 8-7. 2019, Jarrett Culver, 16 points, 10 rebounds, and Noron Sodiase had 14 and 15, earned double-doubles, and Texas Tech beats Buffalo 78-58 for a Sweet 16 berth. It is National Cheesesteak Day.
I have never had one. It just doesn't sound very good to me.
I like it. I'm a big fan.
Meat, cheese, and bread doesn't sound good?
Yep. Put a little green pepper in there as well. It's really good.
No. It doesn't sound good to me.
Okay.
I'm not a big cheese guy except on pizza.
Happy birthday to Jim Parsons, who's 52. The Undertaker turned 60 today. Peyton Manning, 49. Jessica Chastain is 48. Chris Bosh, 41. And Allison Hennigan is 51. And something a little different today for this day in history, mainly because I'm not 100% sure that it happened today. Or really any specific day in this month. I just know that it happened in March, because that's what the declassified documents have said. We have to start our story, however, going back to November of 2011, because this is where a pair of Iranian Air Force Su-25s, basically small attack, ground attack fighter, attempted to shoot down a U.S. drone, which is operating roughly 16 miles from Iran's coastline. The U.S. Air Force MQ-1 Predator was designed primarily for patient reconnaissance. In other words, it flies very slow and for a very long period of time over an area. And it didn't pose a threat to any airframe at all. The Su-25s shot at it with their cannons. They missed. That is when the U.S. Air Force said enough of this is enough. Fast forward to March of 2013, in what could be the greatest incident in U.S. Air Force history where not a shot was fired. This time it was two Iranian F4s, a Vietnam-era fighter, full with radar, front seat, and a back seat. I'm bringing all this up to show you that this is a main attack aircraft. They decided they were going to intercept one of our Predator drones flying around. This time, those drones had some cover in the form of the F22 stealth fighter, also known as the Raptor. The F4s engaged. The F22s also engaged. Very carefully, very quietly, and very safely. So much so that they were able to fly underneath the F4s without being seen and mark down the serial numbers of the weapons that these F4s were carrying. And it was at this point that Lieutenant Colonel Kevin Showtime Shutterfield marks down everything and pulls alongside on the left-hand side of the F4, showing himself for the very first time. Cues the radio mic and says, "Gentlemen, it's time for you to go home now." At which point, the two Vietnam-era aircraft immediately peel off, knowing that they are in trouble. And that is when the world got to find out how cool the F-22 Raptor was.
Okay.
Maybe on this day in history. Every unclassified document just says March of 2012. That's it. There is an actual date for this. Don't know when. Yeah. Could have talked about the Exxon Valdez today. Could have talked about the Germans going into the Rhine. None of that was as fun as the F-22 saying, "It's time for you boys to go home." And that's this day in sports history.
All right, this day in sports history, 6:49 this morning. Here on the morning drive, thoughts, comments, Yates Flooring Center chat line. We got this earlier from Raider Cabo when I asked for good news from the weekend. He says this: after deciding to go to Oklahoma State last month, my daughter has changed her mind and has decided to stay home and go to Texas Tech. Oh, good for her. It's a good, smart decision.
Awesome news.
Yeah, awesome news. Yeah. All right, let's see here. This TCU's baseball players just look different than ours. They look big and strong. Somebody else says they did have large players.
They did. They did. It's a good roster that they have. TCU is a good team. I think, they've been a little bit up and down this year. I shouldn't say that. I mean, they had a 7-game winning streak before they lost 2 of 3 to Arizona State at home. I think Arizona State's going to be really good, but I think TCU, who's right outside the top 25, is a good team as well. Red Raiders played a pretty decent series this weekend. Ultimately didn't make a couple plays that could have won it for you.
Yeah. We get this from Racer 26. Junior and Junior, that's his son and his grandson, bullfighter, and myself sat through all 27 outs on Friday, and it was a little painful. On Saturday, Junior was the kid of the game.
Nice.
How about that? I like it. Our listeners getting together, bullfighter, Racer 26. That's pretty cool. Maybe Pepsi Man could join them at some point in time. We could have our own. We could have our own section at Rip Griffin Park. the Double T 97.3 section. All over.
We.
Interesting.
Well, we as a station.
We could.
That'd
be cool.
Yeah.
In the sold out Dan Law Field and Rick Griffin Park?
Yeah.
Okay.
Couple off of.
We're just going to kick some people out. Make it our section.
There's some GA areas that are not, that you could kind of informally, say, hey, this is kind of reserved for, Bullfighter and Racer 26 and Raider Cabo and Robert and, Juan and, some of our other
What about
friends.
those guys that already have tickets?
Again.
Now they got to give up their tickets to sit with us?
Well, they don't have to. They can come over and have a Coke or some popcorn or a hot dog.
And again, us?
Yeah. I know. I understand. You're right. And maybe I would join them for a few games. Kind of lead the cheering, lead the conversation, lead the convo. 6:52 this morning here on the morning drive. Thoughts, comments. Yates Flooring Center chat line. Go to doublet973.com for that or the mobile app. The Visual Edge IT hotline is open too. Somebody asked this question to me. Chuck, do you think it's odd that the men's basketball Final Four banner has a more prominent spot at the USA than the women's basketball national championship? I think both are in prominent spots. My guess is that the women got to choose which end of the arena they wanted it to go on. But, they're both prominent.
Yeah, I guess I don't have much of an opinion on that. I feel like both are in good spots. I hadn't really noticed one was more prominent than the other.
Yeah, I don't think that one is. Obviously, you've got room for more. So, it'd be great to hang a big old men's national championship banner up there this year at some point in time.
Sure would.
And I bet you they find a way to scoot that other Final Four banner over, or I don't know, replace it with something there. I have no idea. Those are decisions I'm not involved in, and those are good problems to have when you're worried about where you're going to put your banners and how the prominent ones are going to stand out more than the other ones. So, at any rate, any take on Sean Miller presumably going to be the new head basketball coach at Texas, going from Xavier to Texas?
I guess if offered the job, not shocked that he took it. He's probably angered some folks there for leaving them a second time.
A second time, right?
Yeah. I think it's probably a good hire for Texas. I think he's done a good job.
So would he?
He'd still be in a Power Four if he hadn't been caught cheating,
right?
Caught doing things that are legal now,
right? I just wonder if the fit is there. Feels like a John Makovic hire to me. Like,
who is the fit?
I don't know.
We all know that being the Texas coach has its challenges, right?
Yeah.
Who's the fit?
Yeah, I don't know.
Because that's what so many people say when you talk about the Horns jobs.
Right.
Who's the fit?
The Morning Drive podcast from Double T 97.3 is presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
Yates Flooring Center chat line is open. Go to the Double T 97.3 mobile app for that. Visual Edge IT hotline is open as well. The mobile app is presented by Happy State Bank. All right, Jamie. So, your thoughts on Sweet 16 and the matchup with Arkansas?
The matchup with Arkansas, I think, is a fun one. I think they're a fun team to watch. They're super, super athletic, play with a lot of energy. The up-tempo style that Arkansas seems to always have. I'm looking forward to that. I think it should be a fun matchup.
Do you think it matches up as well as it could for Texas Tech? You're going to have to beat teams. You're going to beat good teams, and Arkansas seems to be a team that's kind of caught on. As the season has progressed. Their season really turned around when they went to Kentucky and won there. Seems like it.
Big win. Yeah, it was just was it last week or the week before where you stated that they weren't going to make it?
Yeah,
somebody on the chat line was very adamant that you were wrong.
Yeah, I clearly was wrong about that. I thought they were...
Here they are on the Sweet 16.
Mm-hmm.
They've clearly picked it up towards the end.
They have. They've cobbled it together.
It's like you pushed them on.
Pushed them.
They pushed past your team, and now they're trying to get after our team.
I will.
And so I hope that you didn't motivate them by your comments.
I will tell you this, though, and this is...
I bet they weren't listening. That's my guess.
Maybe somebody got to communicate to Coach Cal. I will say this. That was a really sweet-looking sport coat that he was wearing on the other night. I thought that was really...
I need that jacket. You like it?
I thought it was really... I thought, man, I wanted one of those.
Thank you. Let me know how I can
You can only wear like once or twice.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I mean, because you can't. I had a menswear guy a long time ago. Guy that owned the store. He was in this downtown of this small town that I was working in, and I wanted to buy this one coat. And he's like, Chuck, he goes, this is the coat you need to buy because you don't have a whole lot. And he goes, you don't want it to be one of those deals where, oh, there's Chuck with his new coat on again today. Okay, so I went with the little more conservative deal, but that coat that John Calipari was wearing on Saturday that was really sweet. I thought that is got Arkansas written all over it, but it was checkered and it kind of stood out, and it just changed the color red a little bit. Man, it'd be awesome.
I feel like you could wear it more than a couple times. You just can't wear it very often.
Right, can't wear it all the time.
Maybe a couple times per year.
Yeah, right. But I mean that probably was an expensive jacket to wear just a couple of times a year.
I bet he can afford it.
I'm sure he can. I'm sure
he's doing all right.
I think he can.
I think he probably borrowed some of his players' NIL money and.
Okay, so let me ask you this: with regard to Tech and Arkansas on Thursday, let's just say you don't have Chance McMillan. Are we getting to a point where they've figured out how to play without him?
There's probably a little bit of that going on. I mean, obviously, your depth takes a blow, but you've got your margin for error is a little bit smaller, right? Because you've had a team that has 3 or 4 outside shooters, and so if one of them is off, the other guys can pick up the slack, whatever. And without Chance, you have one less guy, right? That can do that. But I think it was. I'm really impressed with what you did on Saturday night and just said, hey, okay, that's not going to be our game today. We're going to focus on getting JT the ball, and we're going to focus on Darian driving and being aggressive inside and backing guys down and just bullying people to the rim and all that good stuff. And showed you could win a different way. And probably after round 1, when the Red Raiders put up 46 shots, you probably saw Drake go, okay, well, we got to defend the 3. The key here is to defend the perimeter. That's number 1. And Coach McCaslin said, yeah, not so fast, my friend. We're going to do something different.
Sure.
Okay, so I just think you showed that you can win different ways on Saturday. So there's probably truth to what you're saying, though, that they've played with Chance enough to feel like, okay, without him enough that you feel like with Christian Anderson, he's going to be more relaxed in that role and all that good stuff. And you also feel like Kerwin Walton, as he's gotten more shots, has looked better. He's just been more comfortable. And so other guys are stepping up, and that's what you want in that situation. It's not just one guy, but it's a group of guys.
It leaves you with a little less margin for error or foul trouble because Hawkins played 38 minutes on Saturday. Anderson played 37, and Walton played 35. And not to mention that JT Toppin played 32, and then Darion Williams played 29.
Yeah, Coach McCaslin and his staff, they have to, I'm not telling them anything they don't already know, that the kind of changes the way they do their practices and all that kind of stuff. They got to make sure that these guys are staying fresh and don't have dead legs and all that good stuff, because you are asking them to play a lot of minutes. But let's be honest, at this time of the season, who isn't playing a lot of minutes in these games, right?
Right.
You're not looking, hey, we got to get that 9th guy off the bench and get him some minutes. I want him to play in the tournament. No, we're here to win games, and so your best players are staying on the floor. Yeah,
and I'm sure they're managing their time and making sure that they're not taxing them too much mentally or physically, and just I mean, at this point in time, if you're winning, what you've been doing is probably what you're going to be doing kind of moving forward. Okay, well, this is what we did for this game in terms of our preparation. We're going to take it a similar route to it. And, they're going to – I have no idea when they're leaving, but they've got a long trip to San Francisco, and then they're going to play on Thursday. And if they win, they'll play on Saturday. And then you get to that point, you win 2 games this coming week, you're in the Final Four. And you got all kinds of energy going through your body. I mean, you got plenty of stuff that's amped their way through. So, I think probably it makes you a harder team to prepare for, because people are going to go, well, wait a minute, they put up 46 threes one night, and they put up 14 the next night, and they score a ton of points in the paint this way, and they can hit the 3 this way. So it probably makes you a little bit harder to prepare for, I would think.
Yeah, absolutely. Because you've shown that you're a team that can, win by shooting the 3, or you're a team that can win by just really, really attacking the paint.
Yeah, and you shot free throws really well on Saturday. Obviously, I mean, you went 17 of 19 in the second half, and you win the ball game by 13 points and outscore them by 6 in the second half. I mean, I'll give this to Drake. I mean, they didn't go away. They didn't back down, did they?
No, sir.
No, I mean,
they kept it.
They kept it. They kept it real throughout the entire ball game and made it a game. So they had 4 players that were in double figures. I wonder if Bennett Sturtz goes wherever Coach McCollum is going, and that's kind of interesting too. This new twist on coaches leaving, and oh, by the way, I'm taking Johnny with me and Sam with me and George with me, and we're just moving on to the next school. At some point in time, there'll be some wording in contracts going, okay, if the coach leaves, you don't get to leave. You don't get to go where he's going.
I don't think that'll ever happen.
You don't?
I don't think that'll ever happen.
Because those players will then sue the NCAA and the judge will go, oh, sorry, Olay.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's... And, and as much as coaches are moving around nowadays after even just 1 year, it's hard to be too critical of the players.
It is. Yeah, right. You got the West Virginia cat that moved on to, Indiana, and even, Ben McCullum, who's going to move on to Iowa, and, and Sean Miller, who said, I love Xavier. Well, he's going to throw up hook 'em horn signs here today or tomorrow when they put him in that burnt orange sweater and introduce him to the masses there on the 40 acres.
The Morning Drive podcast from Double T 97.3 is presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction. Jamie's question of the day on Double T 97.3 is brought to you by Connecticut of West Texas.
All right, gentlemen, I've got 2 questions for you today, but I'm going to ask them one at a time just to make it easier for those who have a hard time listening and following directions.
I appreciate that.
Okay. I didn't mention any names.
No, I know, but I just said I appreciate that.
So here's the question. All right, Let's assume you're making it to the national championship game.
Okay.
I want you to tell me who you're playing in the Final Four, and I want you to tell me who you're playing in the title game. This is who you want to play. Who do you want to play?
Who do I want to play in the semifinal? Okay, I'll just say this. I want to play Auburn. I want to face Bruce Pearl and take him down. I think Tom Izzo is a great coach, and I have Auburn and Michigan State playing for the right to go to the Final Four in the Elite Eight, and I still think that's going to happen. I think Michigan State's going to beat Ole Miss. And then in the national championship game, man, I want another bite of the Houston Cougars. I want it to be. I'm not necessarily this conference guy because me all Big 12. I'm not necessarily that. I just think that you can beat them, and I think it'd be great to beat them again.
Okay.
So, I've got a weird one. I'll be honest. Looking at this, it's just kind of how it fell. Final Four, give me Ole Miss. Let's have some fun. let's do this the right way. Let's shatter some demons. Let's.
We have demons?
Always. In the title game, I'm going for let's make this as easy as possible. Give me BYU, the 6th seed that's still left over there. I'm good.
That's another one of those teams that I kicked dirt on.
Not playing very well right now.
I thought about that this weekend. I thought about that.
One of the crazier things you've said in a while, Chuck.
I know. And then I thought about when Purdue won. I was like, no, that'll come back to haunt me on Monday.
All right, I'm kind of in the boat with Jeff here. Give me Michigan in the Final Four in the semifinal round, and give me BYU. I'm just wanting the Red Raiders to win it all. I don't care about the drama of it all. That's what I want. So,
do you think BYU is the easiest matchup of all those that are left?
They're the highest or lowest, whatever you want to call it, seed.
Mm-hmm.
I guess so. I guess of the teams that are left, right? If you're just looking at the seed, you're saying Arkansas is the easiest team.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then after that, you got Michigan as a 5 and BYU as a 6. So, yeah, give me give me that one, right? And then I guess I want Maryland after we take down Arkansas.
The Crab 5? Do you like that? Do you like that kind of... That's what they're calling them. They're calling them the Crab 5.
I have no idea. Who's calling them Crab 5?
People, fans, the media.
Who?
Maryland.
Yeah. The Crab 5. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, second question.
Mm-hmm.
Same question, but not who you want, but who you think would be the most exciting / entertaining matchup.
For Texas Tech?
For Texas Tech, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we're not volunteer 97.3.
No, I know, right? Yeah, right. Wildcat, for Kentucky or the Cougar. Yeah, the Cougar 97.3. Now I'll go with what Jeff said earlier. I'll say the drama of Tech versus Ole Miss, and I guess I don't know. I wouldn't mind seeing. I think Duke would be that'd be fun.
Mm-hmm.
Take down an old, and I don't think they're just a blue blood to me. They're not a new blood or anything like that. They're a blue blood. They've been doing this for damn near 30 years.
Duke?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, some people, but
I don't know anybody who doesn't think Duke isn't a blue blood in basketball.
No, I said a new blue blood. I just said they're just a blue blood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got to have hate to be interesting. I'm keeping one of them from the previous before.
Okay.
Ole Miss, and we're going Houston for the final.
Yeah, I'm with Jeff. Both of those, Ole Miss and Houston. The tension, I don't want to lose to that team.
Okay.
And they don't want to lose to us. It's both.
Yes.
Yeah, you're probably right about that.
Would be crazy.
And how much fun would it be to have two Big 12 teams in a down year in the Big 12 to play for the national championship?
Well, that'd show them, wouldn't it?
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
I'd be a fan of that.
The so-called pundits.
Yep.
Well, it just matters more over there while we're winning a trophy.
Yeah. Let's see here. Michigan State. Izzo gets to the Final Four but doesn't win there. Duke in the final. Okay. Tech and Michigan, and then championship Tech and Duke. That's what one texter says.
Okay.
How are there demons with beard? Isn't all the BS on his end?
There's always demons.
We just think he's a demon, so.
Hey, why don't we win against Arkansas first, then the next game, before we start talking about the next weekend? Great, y'all jinxed us. Not really. Somebody says Chuck with a hot take this morning. I think that's...
Okay, time down for today's question of the day. Do you want the Red Raiders to win against Arkansas?
Yes.
Jeff?
Yes.
Okay. That was exciting, Texter. That was a lot of fun. Do you think Texas Tech will beat Arkansas?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Wow, that was a lot of fun. Come on, man! It's Sports Talk Radio. We gotta do some different things.
Right. Can't just break it all down here. X and O you to death.
I don't think 12's going to win. So, no, we got to go Tech over 12.
If the whole team of Tech plays like a team, there will be Arkansas. I'm not sure. I think that was a bit of a rifle shot at yours truly here, I think.
I think that had to do with your math equation turning into Arkansas, yes.
Yeah, right. No,
Yes.
I did it to myself. So, I mean, I got no issue with that. I appreciate you listening and referring back to it from time to time.
This is the Morning Drive Podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
Jamie Lent and Jeff McGuire. I'm Chuck Heinz. Great to have you with us today on the Morning Drive on Double T 97.3 and Double T 97.3.com. We look forward to hearing from you on the Yates Flooring Center chat line. Go to the Double T 97.3 mobile app. It's presented by Happy State Bank. We come to you from the First United Bank studio. And again, look forward to hearing from you on the Visual Edge IT hotline. Somebody says this: give me Rodney Terry's $5.4 million walk-away money and I'll cry all the way to the bank.
No doubt.
I know, but I mean, he still lost his job. I mean, you know.
Yeah, and then the guy wants to, he's passionate about doing his thing, right?
Right,
You never want to be told you failed.
No,
Right.
no. I mean, and the other thing, too, is he's only 56 years old. I mean, he's got...
Oh, he'll get another job.
He'll probably get an assistant coaching job somewhere.
Or a head coaching job at a lower level, one or the other.
Yeah. I mean, and let's face it, when he went there, he went there to be Chris Beard's assistant coach from UTEP. You know, when he took a couple players, or at least one player with him, I think.
And all of a sudden, he's now the
head coach. Right. And, you know, not that he didn't ask for that, because I'm sure, hey, I'd love to be the head coach at Texas. I just don't think I'm going to go from UTEP to Texas to be the head coach, especially when I haven't had just huge amounts of success. Mm-hmm. But that's what happened to him, and he took a team to the Elite Eight, and, you know, he righted the ship for him.
Sure he did.
You know, I mean, that was
especially after the craziness of Beard getting canned in the middle of the year.
Yeah, and all that went with that. So I mean, not that, you know, he's going to be, you know, they're going to give him in kind of statue or anything, but I mean, he certainly.
I wouldn't guess so.
You know, they certainly, you know, he certainly steadied the boat, so to speak, right? Hey, I've heard discussion of this, and I wanted to get your take on this. Do you think the NIL money specifically, or the paying of players specifically, has affected the level of talent at the mid-majors that is affecting the NCAA tournament, that there's less upsets, or is this kind of a one-off this year that you've got all the top seeds that are advancing on to the Sweet 16? It's
probably too small of a sample size to be super confident about it, either way or the other, one way or the other. But I gotta believe it probably is, right?
Yeah, I mean, there's been some discussion of this.
Yeah, I think it's probably factored into it. I think also factoring into it is that you do have guys that are staying in college because they know they have guaranteed money at the college level, and they might not be able to make it at the next level. So, you know, why not stay and collect the guaranteed big money in college when, man, they may head off and think, hey, I'm going to go play in the G League or whatever, and realize that doesn't pay nearly as much as the NBA, and you're also nowhere. You know, some of those guys go back and forth, but for the majority of them, they're not getting to the next level. And so I think guys are like, well, I'm going to stay here in college as long as I can, and then if I move on to the next level and end up having to play overseas or whatever, that's one less year that I have to do that.
Sure.
I can stay right here and play in college. So I think by keeping some of those guys, then that allows teams to be a little bit better, right? A little bit older. And so that probably, lessens the fact that it felt like for a lot of years, the mid-majors would have the older teams.
Sure.
Because they didn't have those talented guys that were leaving early for the draft.
And they were more experienced in playing together, and they had an offense or a defense that they were all comfortable with in a system and a culture. And it felt like some of these teams that were, quote, buying or renting players didn't necessarily have the same thing.
Yeah, I mean, for example, like you would think that, I don't know, I mean, when you're looking at the draft stuff, I mean, Darian Williams is a terrific college basketball player, but he's not rated really high when it comes to NBA draft boards or anything like that, right? I mean, he's a physical beast, but his style doesn't really fit what you see in the NBA, right? And so is Darian Williams. That leads me to believe you got a chance to get him back next year.
Sure, I think so too.
Okay, because he knows he's not a first-round pick or anything like that. There's no guarantee for him there. So he's getting paid well here, and so why not stay here?
I mean, what do we all say, And, I mean, you may not have said this, but I think there's a lot of people that would say, man, give me another year of college. Although I got to tell you, I mean, I couldn't
get done soon enough.
I was going to say when I got done, I mean, I got in and out in 4 years, but I worked I worked really hard to do that, but I also couldn't afford to stay in college another year. I had to go get a job because I needed to start paying back what I owed, and like 99.9% of college kids. So, but then you look back and go, well, man, I had a whole lot of fun in college. Would have sure liked to have had another semester, but not with what the expense of what it cost. But I mean, you look at these basketball players or even the football players, and they're like, well, why wouldn't I play a fifth year if I can? And I would tell you that don't think for a second that JT Toppin might be in the same boat.
Yeah, he might be.
That he might make more money.
Or he might be the number one pick in the draft after Saturday night.
After he goes off against Arkansas?
No, I meant after as well as he played on Saturday and being
okay, this is coming to I was listening. I was on my way home last night, and I was listening to, I think it was either 100.7 The Score or Double T 97.3. It doesn't really matter. One or the other. And they were discussing the NIL money, et cetera. And they're talking about the Duke kid making $5 million. Now, okay, I don't know if that's
Cooper Flagg.
Yeah, I don't know if that's accurate or not. But okay, so let's just say it's 50% of that. That's still a hell of a lot of money, right? That's still a lot of money. And so you're going to tell me that he's going to, he might be the number one player in the draft, right? He might be. So, but still, there's plenty of those guys that aren't. That they're like, why would I want to go play in Zimbabwe when I can play, at Maryland another year? And Zimbabwe's always going to be there.
Are they?
Yeah,
sure.
It's always going to be there.
Going to be overtaken by anybody.
There's plenty of places that you can go play basketball. Okay, but you can't always go back and play for the Crab Five, right?
This has been the Morning Drive Podcast, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction. Check out our library of Double T 97.3 podcasts at doublet97.3.com.